you are allowed to question like what is in your life and decide if it's not for you. And I think there's so much pressure, but then people don't even take, it's like coming back to your own power. It's like, why is there pressure? Like who's putting the expectation on you? And what do I want to feel?
Right.
Like, what do I want to feel when at this very small amount of time that we all are allowed to be done? You know, it's okay that we're not responding to things. We have this downtime. It's like, what can I actually do to energize myself?
You keep saying downtime, and I think that's the illusion of what starts all the stress is there is no downtime. Everyone's very busy right now, especially the last 2 months of the year. Mm-hmm. So there is no downtime, and so that adds to the stress of now I have to get together with my family, which is only, 2 days out of each month. Mm-hmm. So where's the downtime? We're all working.
Welcome back to another episode of Remember You podcast, hosted by me, Christina Olson, Hope Shea, Michelle Tyler Gonzalez, and Justin Reich. We appreciate you listening, and today our episode's going to be about a trance, a holiday trance that you don't even know you're under. It's unconscious. It's that emotional spending, the people-pleasing, and the belief systems that have been instilled in us since childhood. We're going to teach you how to break those trances and get your power back and get your energy back.
Amazing. Okay, great intro. I love talking about this topic because I have been anti-holidays since I was like 15. And because growing up, we had like everyone coming to our house. It was like holiday time meant forget your Christmas break. It's chaos time. We have endless lists of going to get presents. And don't get me wrong, I loved everyone coming over and it's great. But it was when you realize this association with this certain time of year where the intention is to connect and like experience genuine love and joy and togetherness and a break from working and like endlessly doing things. But instead of like really cherishing in that energy, we are hypnotized, in my opinion, from all things like commercial, you know, like, oh, because you have this downtime, you need to show your love and that connection and joy through endless spending on things that people don't even honestly half the time really want or care about or not even that great of quality or just get thrown away or sent to the thrift store. And then the constant stress that you need to be everywhere doing everything. And so the goal of our show today is to talk about how this is sneaky and how it happens and how you can disrupt the pattern really by harnessing your internal energy and your own presence as you go through this holiday season. It might be a little too late in the game to like massively change your game plan or like cancel all your, plans of running around the holidays. But the thing that you can control, which we're going to talk largely about, is yourself, your inner energy, and also your perspective in how you're showing up from a health perspective and also financially. So who wants to kick it off? Do you want me to keep?
I think it's important that you tell the listeners what you were doing when we decided to do this.
The inspiration.
The inspiration behind it and why it's so important. Then I can ask the listeners a couple questions for them to reflect on as they're listening to the different types of ideas that we have for them.
Yes. So for the inspiration, this episode actually came when I was doing a really intense breathwork session just with myself. It's a specific modality called holotropic breathing, where you're really using pretty intensive breathing patterns to upregulate your nervous system. And so that kind of is an intentional way. You're almost a little bit stressing yourself out on purpose, but it's to clear out the stress from your nervous system. And after a certain point of doing this more intensive breathing pattern, in addition to like holds, you can get like, what I call like downloads or like just a lot of clarity. And for me, the big message from this session that I did was about how the most important thing always and should always be the number one priority is protecting and taking care of your inner energy and your internal state, and how this should always be the number one priority no matter what. And especially as you go into these times where you're surrounded by maybe family patterns that are not in alignment with how you feel or live your life. And learning really how to cultivate super healthy boundaries within yourself. And then we kind of started this conversation about like, okay, like how do you even do that? You know, like how do you even, what is your internal energy? How do you even know what that feels like? And a lot of times this comes from like spending time alone or just having moments where if you're anything like me, before learning breathwork, wellness, all these different things, nonstop, like rapid thinking, like always on an 18 to-do list, like always just nonstop, like completely no presence in my life, I would say. And so that's why breathwork is so powerful, because it can like completely stop you in your tracks and allow you a moment to like pause and feel present in your body. And yeah.
And so this would be a good time for the listeners to practice that.
Yes.
You know, and so, you know, some reflective questions we have for you would be, where does my energy go during the holidays? What drains me? What nourishes me? I'll give you a second to really think about that and get in touch with what that does when you start asking yourself these questions, and get real honest with yourself and be in touch with yourself and not what maybe your mom or dad's voice is saying in your head, or your kids or your spouse or your significant other. What does it really mean for you? And get in touch with those things. And then ask yourself, how would the season feel if I choose where my energy flows rather than letting it leak into different areas? And as we're going through some of the different ideas and thoughts that we have that maybe you might want to implement, really keep those questions in mind. And then Hope, if you can give us kind of imagining how you imagine the holidays not stressful, and you know, what kind of making it not a stress test, but a enjoyable time.
Totally. Before we move past that though, I love that you brought up the energy leaks and like understanding what that even is. And like, maybe you can give the example of like, after we had this conversation for your family. I think that's like a really great.
Yeah, so a really important thing that came out of our discussion, obviously we just don't get into this podcast room. We talk about what we're going to do for our listeners and make it meaningful for you. We were talking about this energy leak, and I thought, okay, well, if we're going to be talking about this and giving ideas to all of you, I need to make sure that I'm doing it in my own life. And historically for me, the holidays have been extremely stressful. For as far back as I can remember, I'm honestly probably 25 years, where I have my list of who I need to buy for, the dinners that I need to make, the house needs to be cleaned, the house needs to be decorated, all these things that go into the holidays. And my love language is not getting gifts or giving gifts. Mm-hmm. So it super drains me. And that's what everybody does during the holidays. So after our conversation, I had a very intense conversation with my spouse. And I said, one of the things that caused a recent like flare up for me of extreme stress was knowing that we're going to go into this season having to buy tons of gifts for everybody. And that's what the expectation has been for 10 years. So I have to keep this up. And he's super supportive, and he's like, what can we do? And I said, let's do something that's going to excite us and give us our energy back. And he said, vacation.
Yes.
I said, it's okay, let's do it. So fortunately, you know, we're in a position where my parents live in Florida, so we can get down to Florida in relatively inexpensive way. And so that's what we decided to do. And that's what we're doing. Instead of putting tons of gifts under the tree, we are going to go and enjoy some sun and energy rejuvenation in Florida. And there will not be gifts under the tree this year.
That's amazing. But I think too, it's also taking it even back, is like, who's telling us that we have to give gifts? Like, where is this the origination of this? Like, you are allowed to question like what is in your life and decide if it's not for you. And I think there's so much pressure, but then people don't even it's like coming back to your own power. It's like, why is there pressure? Like, who's putting the expectation on you? And what do I want to feel?
Right.
Like, what do I want to feel when at this very small amount of time that we all are allowed to be done? You know, it's okay that we're not responding to things. We have this downtime. It's like, what can I actually do to energize myself?
You keep saying downtime, and I think that's the illusion of what starts all the stress is there is no downtime. Everyone's very busy right now, especially the last 2 months of the year. So there is no downtime. And so that adds to the stress of now have to get together with my family, which is only, 2 days out of each month. So where's the downtime? We're all working. And so you're adding now we have to get together a whole group of people and their own schedules and timeframes and money issues. And so we have to get together. We have to cook. We have to clean, and then we have to bring something that we made, and then we also have to bring gifts. And so there's no downtime, so we're adding to the stress of the obligations with no downtime. Go ahead.
That's right. And your life doesn't get to stop just because we have all these holidays is what I'm hearing you say. So you have to go on with your normal daily routines, doing your everything else that you have, and now pile on decorating, cooking, cleaning, wrapping gifts, buying gifts.
Yeah, and we're under the illusion that we actually have downtime. Yeah, we don't.
Totally.
Unless you schedule it. So that's the other thing is set the intention. I'm going to take Thanksgiving week off. I'm going to take Christmas week off if you can, because if you're working as an employee, you can't always.
A lot of people
Other people
can't.
have seniority over you.
Right.
I was going to say that question everything is question your traditions.
And then there's that.
It's like you're breaking tradition. Like I just had a client, we were talking about this yesterday, that, his family, mom gets everything together, but then he's got a wife and now family's up here and he's got to delegate, where I'm going to be. And so he would split time between driving 4 hours down just to show face at mom's house and then come back up here to then show face with the wife's family. And you're splitting days just to show face, and it's like you're half-ass in your presence.
And really, it's societal imposed traditions. They're not really yours. You're not deciding with your own family, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have Christmas at our house, and if people want to join us, they're welcome to. No, we're not doing that. We're saying societally that we're supposed to go to a certain place and do this, and we're supposed to be with grandparents, sisters, whatever. And that's just not what we need to be doing if we're trying to make this stress-free for ourselves, right? We don't have to do all that, but that's what we're being told that we have to do is be with your family.
And the big takeaway in this episode is to ask yourself, what would happen if I went to church on a different day and prayed on a different day, not Christmas Eve or Christmas, and dealt with all the traffic and everything? Would God still love you? I think he would.
Yeah. But I think it's like also even more basic than that is like list out what you normally do and just like take a little audit. What is like something that you do but you hate doing it? Like some people love going to the Christmas Eve service and like being in that and, or whatever else. But it's like if it's draining you, just take a moment to pause and realize like you're an adult and you can do whatever you want ultimately. And even if it upsets some people, I think it's okay.
Very valid point. I do this a lot with my clients who are very high profile, elite people who need to figure out how to manage their stress. And so we do this little test and they kind of list out everything that they are currently doing. And then on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being like, I hate this. If I could get rid of it, I would totally do it and like drop it in a second, to 5 is like, this energizes me. Mm-hmm. And when you start doing that, then you can start saying, okay, well, these things, usually it's like cooking or cleaning the house or something, I can get some help here. Mm-hmm. And that's easy to kind of get off my plate and ask people to help me. These things, speaking, writing books, whatever, they energize me. Okay, I'm going to continue to spend my time here. And how do I do that? So doing it for the holidays, same concept,
Totally. Well, and I think like you'd be surprised at how many things you can just like cut out. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, just really refocusing on what, again, energizes you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people are not aware of that. It's just like, how do you spend your money? You have to be very aware of how you're spending your money. You have to be very aware of how you're spending your energy, because your energy is your currency. And so you be intentional. And most people, we're just thinking we have to do so much, and we are doing so much. Right. And I think we talked about this yesterday. It's you just keep doing so much, not realizing, and not everyone is so aware of how much they're doing and why they're doing it. And so they don't, and then even if they did think about it, they don't even think they can change it because of the obligations.
Well, and it's the unconscious trances that we were talking about earlier in the episode. And it's also what autopilot are you running on? So when you're talking about you don't even know why you're doing it. Well, it's because I can tell you why you're doing it. You're doing it because you're on autopilot. And you're doing it because it was the way that you were trained to do it. And the trance that we're in, pick up any movie, any Hallmark movie, and we're trained in this trance, right? Everybody's watching these movies during the holiday. Like everybody, it's Christmas, it's presents, it's, you have to have this perfect love life. No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, and I think it's also the fear of like, everyone being a people pleaser at heart. I think that was like a big thing we were talking about is that like it hurts to like disappoint the people that you love. But when you pull the lens back and like zoom out even more, how much better would they feel if you were able to show up in a time where you were actually recharged, energized, and totally dropped into like the conversation, the connection? Like they're going to remember that 10 times more than you being like, I can't go to every single holiday dinner or whatever the hell you have going on, but I did make time so that we can connect at this specific one.
Right.
And, or just like this year, like I need to take a break. You can take a break. Like sometimes I know people have literally just like didn't do the holidays because they were so burnt out from the year, and it catapulted their next year because they took the winter to do what you're supposed to do, which is rest.
Yes.
Like, and it's okay to say like, fuck the plans, I'm not doing it if you genuinely need that break.
Well, and I think yes. And
I love doing that.
And an example I can give to the listeners is this year for Thanksgiving, instead of having a huge Thanksgiving with both sides of the family and like freaking out, at least I freak out, we decided to practice what I preach every day. And we changed our Thanksgiving to a Saturday when it's calm and quiet for one side of the family, and another Sunday for the other side that's going to work, and much less stress. We're still doing a little get together, being thankful for our family, but we decided to say, why do we have to meet on a Thursday where Friday we have to work the next day? And we're stressed out, and like, this is just, and like, let's be real, what is Thanksgiving anyways? What are we really thankful for?
Yeah.
We won't go into that during this show, but it's okay to do those things. And you don't have to be told like on this specific day, you have to be doing these specific things.
Yeah.
Break the tradition a little.
Well, and I think it goes back to the original thing of what I was just saying in this meditation, and just kind of what we've been talking about is taking time to cultivate personal boundaries and just understanding that you can actually have that power within yourself. And I think this is a good segue to come over to you talking about health, especially as we have all of these amazing, probably maybe not so good food options. Like, how do you go into this more consciously?
So
I'm sure people ask you this honestly all the time.
it's a broad spectrum topic, and I'll help you narrow it down so you can choose your own journey here. Who do you want to be? So going into the holidays, going into Thanksgiving, who do you want to be? And do you want to be the person that you've been? Has it been working out for you? Do you want to change? Are you one to look at the holidays and go, after the holidays, then I'll change? I get a lot of people who are like, after New Year's. Yeah, it's my New Year's resolution. I'll do it afterwards. That's been 10 years in the making, right? So you got to make a decision now that you are going to be this person who makes decisions for themselves, and start challenging yourself and doing things a little different. So if you're going to have a drink, I'll tell this to clients, make it clear, make it clean, make it straight. So whiskey on the rocks, tequila with a little bit of lime. Even better is you can take an alcohol support supplement, high in liver support enzymes and high in milk thistle. Yeah, and vitamin B. And those help to process the alcohol a lot faster. So there's ways to hack the system a little bit and still enjoy it. I'd recommend doing maybe a low dose of mushrooms or do something that elevates you but doesn't toxify you, because you want to be around people and enjoy and partake, but you could do a mocktail instead with a little bit of like low dose mushroom would be my preference. So that kind of carries over into the indulgence of alcohol. And then going into the food, I just tell people prioritize protein first. So you're going to have the turkey. I prefer the dark meat. Go with that first. Use the gravy. It's awesome. And then partake in the mashed potatoes, partake in the whatever else you enjoy, the buttered buns and all that type of stuff. Like, they're awesome. But you overindulge, you're going to crash out, and then you're going to have to pay for it the next day and then the next weekend. And then, okay, good luck starting next week when you got to get back to work and handle the kids and do all the other things. So it's like, it starts now. Who do you want to be? And then what does that look like? And I just gave you a simple roadmap. But then there's little hacks. I'll give you something that happened a couple of years ago.
Really quick, I was going to just say that this came to mind. I had a friend that literally eats like 5 scrambled eggs, like when they wake up on Thanksgiving Day, so that they are like protein
Primed.
Overload, ready to go.
Oh, nice.
And then when they actually go, then they can totally have just like a little bite of each thing.
You can
like,
indulge.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like not making it your main source so that you're just like leaving there like rolling out the door, which like been there.
Hey, for people like you gotta look at, there's a large group of people out there that are food addicts.
Totally.
And that they use food to elevate them and suppress their emotions and feelings. So if you really want to get a different look at Thanksgiving, like just be the fly on the wall and watch how people eat. Watch how people indulge. Watch how it's like hyenas to a freaking antelope. It's just like, it's very interesting how people start to behave around food and how they're on this trance, this hypnotic state.
Honestly, talking about holiday food is like making my mouth water. I'm like, that's like a real
my God,
thing.
yeah,
but
it
it's
is.
not even
Are you
like,
the hyena?
The way you're saying that is so real, but it's like literally, but I'm the one that like, when I'm there, like most of the stuff my family brings, it's like traditional stuff, like it grosses me out. Like it's so filled with sugar, and it's like, I am at a point where it's like most of it is not enjoyable. Like, and I would just genuinely not.
But you've had to go through a journey with all that too.
But it took me like, a very long time to get there. And there's certain things there that I'm like, that's worth it. But I'm just saying, literally, as you're like saying that's how deep the trance is.
It's calling out the program.
It's like holiday time.
It's calling out the program.
Indulgence. Like, fuck your goals. Like, just do what everyone's doing.
The goals will be here on January 1st.
You can do it later,
crazy.
just indulge, and then you're going to get judged for not eating the way everybody else is eating. There's that. So you don't have to be so polarizing where it's like, nope, I'm only going to do protein only, and I'm not going to have any drinks, and I'm just not going to have any of the appetizers. But it's like, you got to find a balance in between all those things, but prioritizing the protein first, the bookends of the day, have your protein first thing in the morning, follow through with good eating, and then before actually going to the family's house or before everybody comes over, like do a protein shake. Like fill yourself up so you're not scrounging and snacking.
It's a great idea.
What are some other, like, it's like more about replacement.
Yeah,
because you're not going to, like, there's no point in like having this whole day, like, I'm white knuckling it, I'm going in. I'm
Don't
gonna be
stress
so
yourself
strong.
out for that.
It's like, okay, like this is going to be here. What's something I can have like in replacement? And like one thing that I've recently started doing with alcohol, because I love martinis. Like it's like my weird, like every once in a while, like that's the thing that I want.
Pinky up.
Yes, of course. But also it's like, it's clear. So I'm like, okay, this is fine. But I don't want to get into that habit of like the casualness of ever just like even weekly. Like I don't like that. And it's so easy to like fall down that. So I've just replaced it with, I've started really getting into teas. And so like, but like taking the time to find something that I'm like, I really like this. And it's like exciting about, like, I'm like, oh, I like look forward to it. And then when I go, okay, like I'll have one tea first. And if I still want the martini, like I'll have it after.
Yeah.
But the minute you start having your tea, you're like, oh no, this feels so much better and like nourishing. And I'm not going to like have a headache or anything tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. To me, it's like more of a replacement strategy or like giving yourself a pause to give yourself a good game plan.
That's really it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Before you even get there, I think you need to think about what's the price you're going to pay after you eat all that food. Because I think a lot of people get excited about the food you're going to get to eat because it's going to be a lot of desserts, a lot of carbs that you don't normally eat, maybe. And then you have to think about the next day, I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be bloated, I'm going to be gaining a few pounds, and then how am I going to feel to work out like he said? do I want to work out the next week? Is it going to make me feel bad to know that I ate all this food in one day and now I have to work to take it off?
Well, it goes
and
back
then
to
how
your
long will that
question of
take?
Who do you want to be?
This is like, yeah.
If you really get in contact with yourself, your inner knowing knows who you want to be. And there's a lot of stress that you put on yourself around, you have this like the angel and the devil, right? We all have it on either shoulder. And when you're talking about food or you're talking about alcohol or you're talking about buying gifts or whatever, you have this one side, and you can polarize either side, right? Like, let's just talk about alcohol because it's my thing, right? You have the alcohol devil that says drink until you can't feel anything and you're totally obliviated and you don't have to deal with any of these people and you won't remember anything. And then you have the angel on the other side that says, well, shit, you're going to feel like crap. You're going to probably say something really stupid. And really, in reality, that's not what you want to do. Why don't you go find solace somewhere else and quiet and peace the way that feels good in your body? But then there's this balance in the middle where you're in these situations. And then that's where your question comes into play of who do I really want to be? What's serving my best interest?
And then ask yourself, why are you getting excited about the food that you're going to get to eat? Why are you getting excited about the alcohol you're going to drink?
You don't even
Why is that making you excited? Why isn't something else making you excited, like spending time with the people you're in the room with?
What the question is not why, it's what do those things do for you? And then when you can really answer those, then you can go to your suggestions around how do I replace those things?
But they don't do anything for you is the whole point. So why are you getting excited about them? Because you're not excited about the people you're going to spend time with, probably.
Yeah, you're kind of subbing out.
But it's like
that's just my perception, right?
No, I think that's so real.
I mean, with the thing with alcohol that I come across a lot for high performers is it shuts the mind down.
Yeah, it's great. It's like a vacation,
right?
Yeah, so you don't have to deal with who you're in front of.
But I've figured out a balance of what works for me. And finally, after a long, long time of dealing with this, but it's that question. It's the question Justin asked the listeners. That's really important. You have to know who are you and what do you want to show up as?
It's a very simple filter, yeah.
And then where is your peace?
But we got to think about most people don't know who they are. They're just on autopilot, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hypnotized.
They're looking for help.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the fly on the wall and this idea, this is like I'm trying to accelerate like 20 years of self-reflection and self-work in a holiday or a day, right? But if you can observe yourself and observe other people and look at how everybody's acting and just pay attention to your emotions and your feelings that are coming up, because you're going to have all these past programs, all these triggers, all these things come up, and they're going to say something offhand that usually throws you off. And it's your opportunity to correct.
Mastery.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, I'm going to show that it's like, honestly, you could get even more excited because it's too late in the game.
It's your opportunity to get in the ring.
Throw all your plans out, like you can do that next year and like, plan the vacation or whatever else instead. But we're in the final, like we're in Q4. We're like, it's almost game time, baby. Like I need a fucking strategy. And like, you could use this as an experiment. No one has to know. Do it inside in your own internal little world and just notice. And like for me, like there's certain family members that like, it doesn't matter. Every single time they know what to say or what to do intentionally to upset me because they're jealous or they, we have such a different view on something. And so I gauge my success with these different events because I go in being honest with myself. Like, I'm not saying in a negative way, like, oh, this person's going to be awful. It's like, I know what to expect. And now I have control of my reaction because it's like, I know what to expect. So it's like when this person now, specifically who I'm thinking of, every single time I see them, it's like a smile comes across my face because I'm just like, I'm ready, And it's like, it's not like it's like anything. It's just this little game I play with myself because I'm just like, no, like that doesn't bother me anymore because I have this awareness around it. And it's also like, it's a pattern interrupt. And so for me, it's like managing your reaction, managing your response to those things is like what I think makes you feel even more energized.
Well, and there's simple things that people can
It's
do.
like a video game.
Yeah, and there's simple things that people can do. So if you ask yourself the question that, Justin has you ask is, who do I want to show up as, or what do I want to be, or whatever the question that resonates the most with you. And then you embody that going into it and give yourself an anchor. Like a lot of little anchors could be your thumb and your pointer finger or your finger here pushed together, and just think of yourself as the person you want to be and where you've been in that situation before and how it's felt. And then you can pattern interrupt yourself when mom's saying the meat's not cooked correctly or whatever, and you want to bite her head off. Instead, use your anchor, center yourself to who you want to be. I'm a happy, loving person that's confident in the way that I cook, and nothing anybody can say to me will hurt me.
So one tool that came to mind in regards to what you were speaking about with the mom, and there's going to be people who trigger things and bring up whatever it is, politics, news, or ongoing stuff. Just let me finish this point really quick, is that you don't have to respond with rebuttals or complex answers or coaching or guidance or trying to fix. You don't have to fix anybody in the holidays. It's not your job to sway them in one way or another on your viewpoints or sway them away from their viewpoints. If somebody says something that you disagree with or that you don't align with, all you have to reply with is interesting.
Yeah.
That's it. And let that be.
Advice for the
It's
listeners.
so good. Like, don't engage.
Yes.
That's it.
Like, and people will be shocked because they're used to
They
your
don't know what to do.
reaction. They're used to you taking the bait. It's
Yeah.
like rage baiting. Like, people in my
is.
family, I'm
It
like,
is.
I know that you're doing this on purpose, and now I laugh. Like, because I'm just like, I know your game,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Or
you're
could you,
crazy.
or could you be like, instead of saying interesting, could you be like rage bait?
Yeah.
Literally.
You almost got me. You
Literally.
almost got
Like
me.
when you feel it start coming up, that's when I'll start laughing because I'm like, almost.
Hello, old friend.
Almost.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, my friend. But sorry. Go
But
ahead,
I was
Michelle.
thinking this, we need to think about energy drain of going to these events. And some people will just not go. So you don't drain your energy being around this environment where you have to say interesting, right? And I think what I think is more powerful is something Justin brought up earlier this week. It's ho'oponopono. You know the phrases. And that gets you, because he says to internalize everything that someone is doing, and I finally got it this week, someone else is doing something that's triggering you. Mm-hmm. So it's all about you. It's not about them, right? So in order for us to be in an environment with people that trigger us, we don't have to, say they're interesting or still think negative thoughts about what they're saying. We could be doing those phrases and just clear it out. Clear out that whole experience with them that is triggering to us, because it's something deep inside of us that's bothering us. That when they trigger us, it's triggering what's subconsciously in us that bothers us.
But just like ultimately, there's like a gift in it.
Yeah,
right?
this is like you want to do spring
Right.
cleaning?
Right.
Here you go. Like
Right.
throw yourself in the middle of these people who just trigger you, and you can clear house.
Yes.
And you can ascend 10, 20, 100x
Yes.
compared to where you were before just by practicing that.
Yes.
And so
sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if you can say the phrases for everyone to know what those phrases are that can help them clear it out.
Yeah, we can go into another podcast with it because it'll be a deep dive.
And if anybody wants to, I'll put it in the show notes, but if anyone wants to look up Ho'oponopono, it's I don't know who the guy was that.
Dr. Hugh Len.
Yeah, Hugh Len. Okay. And he brought it into like a hospital on a psycho ward, path ward or whatever, and gave these people basically like, please forgive me, thank you, I love you sayings over and over and over again. And he saw immense change in the way that people's minds functioned, and people not cured fully, but were really much better.
The high level, if you just want to take this pill and just see what happens, is just walk through your day, go on your drive with your family, by yourself, and constantly repeat the phrase while you're listening and talking to people. And just in your own head is, I love you, thank you. I love you, thank you. I love you, thank you. You repeat that phrase, and then anytime you start to feel a trigger or an abruption of some type of lack of peace, then you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you don't need to know why. All you're doing is you're releasing and acknowledging the feeling, but releasing it, which then allows you to get back to zero or peace.
It's really ultimately self-hypnosis.
That's
It's
exactly
like a little
what it is.
microdose of like self-hypnosis because it's a pattern interrupt.
Yeah.
And then it immediately is like replacing your like, spiral or whatever you're feeling with like something that's more helpful.
Yeah.
And so, but I wanted to go back to something you said earlier, which I think is really helpful is, who do you want to be? Like that is a big question. And again, we're in the final throes here. We're getting ready for the holidays. It's like, okay, like that might be too much to even think about right now. But another way to a step like, before that is like, how do you want to feel? Is like, just how do you want people to experience you that you're engaging with? And like, what do you want the experience to feel like? And like really setting that intention before going in. Because yes,
that's the whole concept of like having emotional sovereignty.
totally.
Right. And that's what that Ho'oponopono does for you because you're going in knowing that these people trigger you, right? Because they're your family and they say things and certain people just trigger you. But if you know you have sensitivities and then you can address them with a pattern interrupt like this, then you're better able to deal with it and clear out whatever negative that's inside of you because that's the trigger is yourself.
Yeah.
But this is not a show up to grandma's house and start doing it. This is when you start to think about someone or something and it comes up, that's when you initiate it. So I love you, thank you, I love you, thank you. And then I think of something that someone said to me or that I'm going to go to their house and they say something that throws me off or just their energy. And I start to feel that aggravation or that anger or whatever it is. That's when you go, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you.
And then it will actually change your interaction with that person.
Yeah, that was the next exact thing that I was just about to say is that, we're giving a lot of thought and conversation to like the people that trigger us or whatever else, because that is just the reality of the situation for many people. But it's, again, when you change your internal state, even from just a nervous system perspective, everything outside of you will react to that in a positive way. And it's the term actually what Christine and I were talking about this is called co-regulation. So when your nervous system, all of our nervous systems, like without us knowing, like sync up when we're together. That's why when someone walks in a room and they're in a terrible mood, everyone's like, ooh, like you can feel it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not like super sensitive or like, into all this stuff, like you can feel that. And it's literally just your nervous system, your antennas going off and picking that up. And so one of the things that we were going to do as an offering is a 10-minute like breathwork hypnosis track to start your day with. And literally at first thing in the morning, right when you get up, sit down on your couch, put your headphones in, listen to this. There'll be a light breathing pattern and super just positive and lighthearted kind of hypnosis track to go with it. And just download it for free. So it'll be on our website, which is remember-u.com/holiday healing, all one thing together. And it's just like perfect way to use this as an experiment and really make sure that you're taking your power back and anchoring in your own energy and really bringing that calmness to the situation. And you might be really surprised at how well people react. Because if you come in guns blazing, you're going to get it right back.
Yeah, I'm doing a whole series on my social media right now that is getting a lot of hype and talking about. And we can all think about this because I work a lot with leaders and CEOs of companies. And when your boss or your leader comes in and is on high stress, total chaotic behavior, and the priorities are changing every 5 minutes, what you're talking about, people can relate to, because when that person walks in or is on Zoom and that's what they're doing, your nervous system is literally connecting to their nervous system. It's like there's a lot of research about this that shows when you're in the same room or you're doing something with people, you connect at that level. So when you're feeling chaotic inside and you're operating out of a state of fear of what's going to happen next, ultimately, that is what you're going to attract. And so I work with a lot of leaders teaching them how to regulate their nervous system so that you breathe, you visualize, you hear things, depending on what sense you rely mostly on. We work through that. And then you can come in a lot more calm. You do this in the holidays, you do this on a daily basis, and it becomes a practice that regulates your entire life.
So back to the health side of things, because we're talking about nervous system here, and it's food impacts your receptivity and really your voltage, right, in your nervous system. And I just want to give an idea of what it would look like for somebody who is actually focused on themselves and holding their energy. So if you're somebody who wants to connect and prioritize yourself, but at the same time still be amongst the crowd and with the people, is what a day would look like. If you're going to a family or you're hosting, you got family, you have a spouse, you're juggling a lot of balls, what does that look like? And I would first prioritize first thing in the morning, like Hope is saying, like meditate, put time in where nobody's awake and it's just you. Then you kick off, you have your water, you do that. In addition to having your water, having your food, prioritize protein first thing in the morning. If you're going to have a light lunch, to then prep for an early dinner, usually the case, right? So people go into Thanksgiving and now you're indulging in appetizers, drinks, and all sorts of crowd behavior. And you go in with the intentions in the morning meditation, visualizing how you're going to act, what you're going to do, and who you're going to be, and anticipate the situations that may occur and how you want to respond to that. Then going into the Thanksgiving dinner, now it's actually putting it into practice. And this is not to take energy away from you. It's actually putting energy back into you.
Yes.
So now you can start to take advantage of conversations that may have been missed right? And then now you can start to actually help guide, and there's going to be maybe one or two people who are paying attention to what you're doing and you're acting differently. Now you're creating a domino effect of other people.
You're also giving people permission.
Yeah.
Like that's the other part I wanted to take this is that like, if everyone's feeling this way, who's going to disrupt it? Right. You.
That's
do it. And be the person that like inspires other people to come back to that authenticity and like whatever that means that it looks like. Some people love Christmas the way it is, like do your thing. But for those who are resonating with us, what we're saying, it's like you can take this and be the change agent, for even your little family or even bigger family or traditions.
And so I think to be aware of, just like money, you're transferring from one bank to another, like when you're paying someone, there's an energy transfer in the communication or the people you're surrounding yourself, especially that evening. Yes. You have to think a lot of people may be low energy because of all the stuff they had to do, and now they have to get together. And so if you're coming in high energy, you got to realize to equalize the energy in the room, your energy may get depleted. And maybe you may not want that. So you may not decide to go and say, I'll see you another day when I'm high energy, you're high energy, and we can exchange energy together.
That's a great example. That's a great piece of advice. And I'll me and my stories. I actually had to do this recently over the weekend. Our family was having a big get together and I was feeling like really high energy, excited. And I wanted to give some of that energy to my kids instead of going and draining it at a family event. And I had to make a really difficult decision because I'm a people pleaser innately. That's how I grew up.
Recovering.
Thank you. To not go to that event. And I made a lot of people upset, but it's because I needed to protect my energy. And I knew going into that situation, there was going to be a lot of alcohol. There's a lot of negativity and I didn't want to be there. And I felt upset and a little bit like guilt. I guess guilt was a good word by not going. But afterwards, I saved myself and felt amazing.
Good.
And then you got time with your kids.
Yes.
Which is like wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this constant sharpening each other's swords, so to speak, when you say, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and looking at this, I want to offer a different perspective here because many people can relate to this. Mm-hmm. I used to be an alcoholic or used to be a workaholic or people pleaser. These are very common ones. You are not the program. Look at these things as programs, right? The operating system is consciousness, right? And your mind is the hard drive. And then embedded into that hard drive is people pleasing, is selfishness, is health consciousness, is plus minus whatever you want to call it, you are not the program. So how do you word people pleasing in your identity in relationship to people pleasing differently so that it doesn't have to be even
not even
I
what
used
you
to
do
have a
anymore.
pattern of people pleasing, and it's like, because you don't want to say,
Right.
like, it's
Used
like
to.
you don't want to, the identity, like how you identify in whatever arena we're talking about has so much more of an impact on like what your actual behavior is going to be. And so that's why we're making a big deal about this. It's like in-person hypnosis or live hypnosis, but like saying I am a people pleaser is literally reinforcing an identity within yourself.
Right.
I cut myself all the time or say like, oh, I'm such a perfectionist. It's like, and then it's like that I don't want that to be the thing that I'm telling myself or associating my identity with. And so it's like just taking time to know which ones do you just say like without even thinking about it. Because it will affect how you behave. You're like giving your consciousness instructions. Like, this is who I am. This is what I do. And it's like, why can't I stop doing this? It's like,
it's the little
tiny
little
you're
things
telling
that
yourself,
you're giving permission.
I am. Yeah.
Well, that's why self-talk is very important. And if we could all remind each other, like you interrupted me, right? I was going down that path. It's important if you can remind your family and the people you love that and interrupt them that they are loved, they are worthy, they are beautiful, they're gifted, they're great energy creatures, whatever it is. Help them. And then as you're helping them, you're also helping yourself in the situations.
I
I can say
go ahead.
one thing real quick is like, you also don't want to be that preacher on the corner of the street, right? Like Bible banging and just like
100%.
throwing that. So you can do it internally.
Yes.
Like with a lot of people, it's too abrasive and it's too like, okay,
right,
you're
like
too
we are
woo-woo
like
or,
so close, and we're like, this is like our mission and our passion.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
we're
I
about it.
expect you to
Yes,
like
correct.
check me,
Yeah.
like please, like if you let that slide, I would be mad.
Yeah.
but it's like most people aren't in that
Valid.
But you can-
Valid point.
mindset.
how are your outer world is your inner self pushed out.
Right.
So it's like the internal dialogue. If you're judging this person for feeling this way and they should be doing this, instead just embracing that idea of love and like, I love you, I see you, I'm here. Like, and just taking whatever they're throwing at you, it's just kind of, it's beating off of you like water on a duck's back. And that allowing that to be then just starts to calm them down. And then you start to see that they're letting their guard down. And then you can start to have like a question or conversation that makes them think a little differently. And then, that's interesting.
Right.
And it just starts to open up other opportunities.
Instead of being like, stop that. You're not a perfectionist, Mom. The turkey's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
She'll be like, what the hell are you talking
You're going
about?
to cause more harm
Get out
than.
of my kitchen. Like,
Yeah.
it's like different time and place.
And to go and to also just feed in. So some people they hear, words and that helps them process. So if you're telling yourself, I am calm, I love myself, and I thank you, and you're doing that and repeating it and you're hearing that in your head, that's going to help you. Other people may need to visualize. So maybe you visualize your heart and like emitting all of this energy purposefully and directly to the person who is talking, and just visualize that love being emanated out of you and lighting you and that person in that room up. That might work. Or maybe it's touch. Maybe you need to touch something to feel that love, or maybe it's a combination of taste and a few other things. So find what it is that resonates with you and use that to emanate love in the room and in the situations within your own body.
And I think realizing that words are powerful. So when someone says, even in their mind, I love you, you have to have love inside of you to even say to someone else, I love you. And so to say it, I love you, then you light up and there's a whole different energy in your being. And our energy is radiating out from our heart anyways.
Yes.
So imagine saying that to someone that just triggered you, and then the feeling that you can get and the peace that you get when you're dealing with anyone.
And I know a lot of people put walls up around their heart because they've been hurt. They've had these programs programmed into their brains. And when you start to break down that feeling of hurt and take those walls down, then that love becomes even more prominent and even better. And it's what might work for you maybe doesn't work for me or you, but find the modality and the technique that's going to work for you so that you do find that love back in your heart and you're able to connect with it. So then everybody else that you interact with feels that.
That's amazing. And I feel like we're like on the same brainwave length today, because I was literally just about to say is like the entire purpose of our podcast is remember you, coming back to your power as a like individual and what you can actually create in your reality just by taking the time to, again, cultivate that inner energy, take the time to like know who you are and who you aren't. And in the sense of holidays, like just a very simple of just like, okay, what can I expect normally that's going to trigger me? And how can I respond in a better way this year? Like, it doesn't have to be so overcomplicated, but the ultimate goal of like why we're having these conversations is to disrupt the pattern of information that you've already been giving, or to give you kind of that like secret hidden door and saying like, no, there is another way to go about these different things that everybody's just, kind of blindly going throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I think knowing who you are is the most important thing to figure out. Who am I? Mm-hmm. And like getting really dialed into what that is. And this goes into like, okay, what level of acceptance are you willing to hear this message? Is going to allow you to really ultimately give you more power, or it's going to limit you. Is if you can look at yourself as creation, as source, as God, individualized, or however you want to define it as in some capacity to what I'm talking about here, which is God, for what we know it as, individualized. Why would I get fucked up off of this type of situation or scenario? How could it control infinite? How could it control the thing that created this situation in the first place? It's our ego. It's the programs. It's not you that is causing the feeling, the experience of frustration, anger, or disconnection or disharmony. And when you get down to reminding yourself, who am I? I'm God individualized. I am creation. And we can take it even further where I say you're nothing, because out of nothing comes everything. Think the Big Bang, think of creation in and of itself, that you can't be fucked with. Right. And it's remember you is about remembering who you are, which my point here is that you're God. You're fucking God. Yes. You're source. Stop letting shit fuck with you. And that's like, you got to remind yourself. And then when you remind yourself, you start to show other people. And when you start to show other people, they start to harmonize and start to remember themselves as that as well. So now everybody's in harmony and just sharpening each other's blades. And now you're more in alignment. And now this is no longer a societal norm. This is no longer, you're removing the programs and starting to just be a direct conduit for God, source, infinite intelligence. And now you just start to channel that. I didn't even think of that. That's just coming through source right now.
Totally.
Yeah,
Like
and listening to, like I was thinking throughout this, is you used to say, I'm nothing. I didn't get that. I didn't understand what does saying I'm nothing mean. But then you go, like I got it recently, where you say you're all things, and then we're all one is then the connect to all that. So if we're all one and we're interacting with each other and someone's triggering us, then why it makes sense to internalize it and say, clear it out of myself, because this interaction is about me, not about them.
That's right.
Yes. So good. I love that so much. That really clicks. Totally. Because then also too, it is giving your power back to yourself. It's not getting your energy leaked and scattered and blaming anything else. It's like, whoa. This is inside me first.
Well, and it's remembering that you have the choice in how you react
or respond even. Yeah.
So a trigger is just basically, to use our podcast name, when you feel something shitty, hey, remember.
Yes.
You.
Yes, exactly.
Remember you, who you are. Like that, when you can build that reflex and just reset, recover, rejuvenate, you are now creating a whole different reality.
Absolutely.
And I put this little meditation together for the listeners. If you want to do something in the morning, We can all just kind of close our eyes, picture your energy as a warm light in your chest, golden, soft, whatever color might resonate with you, sacred. Now picture it expanding, but not leaking, expanding, radiating, but not escaping, radiating. It's your energy. It lights up your holiday. It's not a drain. It's a light. From this place, how will you show up? What will you protect? And what will you no longer give away unconsciously? Feel your energy. Just think about it. Thank you.
Such a good look.
Beaming sun right now.
Yes. I'm a green orb.
Yeah, that's very fitting. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. I encourage you to do some self-reflection, some journaling, watch yourself talk, receive. Not only give, but receive.
And don't forget our our holiday giveaway is this 10-minute hypnosis breathwork track. So again, remember-u.com/holiday healing. Use this, bring a different energy, see what happens.
Protecting your energy is not selfish. We love you guys. Can't wait to do another one. Thank you.
Perfect. Happy holidays.